it's not nearly as sad as the rest of the stories we were covering. Maybe not for me, but definitely for one Mike Pence, who is facing trouble on several fronts. But let's focus in on the most damning issue that he's facing, which is his financial situation. Because a new report from Politico suggests Mike Pence is quickly running out of cash and simultaneously racking up enormous debts for his presidential campaign. From that report, Mike Pence's presidential campaign is running on fumes. That is nothing you ever want to hear as a candidate reported about you. Reporting just $1.2 million cash on hand and more than $600,000 in debt. Continues on. The former vice president raised $3.3 million in the third quarter, he reported Sunday. He has given himself $150,000, a significant figure for a politician who has spent much of his life never having amassed much wealth, and one that far exceeds the less than six-figure salary he earned when he was Indiana governor less than a decade ago. Now, it's not just the report that's bad for Pence, it's his own allies and operatives from within the Republican Party who also spoke to Politico under the condition of anonymity and had some thoughts on his campaign. One anonymous Pence ally said this: the debt number is going to be impossible to pay back. When he drops out, he's going to have to do debt retirement fundraisers. So this man is not only not going to become the president of the United States, he's not going to become the president of the United States with a massive amount of debt that he's going to have to pay back with seemingly little options within the Republican Party and little to no sources of income. I don't know what he's going to be doing. So apparently fundraising to pay those debts back. Now, another quote: sounds like a medium-sized Senate race, the person said of Pence's fundraising haul. In fact, some Republicans close to Pence had urged him to weigh a bid for Indiana's open Senate seat in 2024 instead of seeking the presidency, an overture Pence declined. I'm glad that he will not be in the Senate or the White House for that matter. But the state of affairs for him on the campaign trail is also quite sad. This little anecdote put a smile on my face, I'm not gonna lie. Barely registering in polls of New Hampshire Republican primary voters, Pence returned to the first primary state this past weekend to cap off a 2-day cattle call attended by nearly every GOP presidential hopeful except for his former boss. He was swarmed for photos on the way into and on the way out of the Nashua Sheraton, but when he actually hit the stage, Pence was speaking to a not even half full ballroom of GOP activists that had been full the night before for DeSantis, Nikki Haley, and Ramaswamy. So Senator Turner, I mean, there's a couple things here, right? Neither Pence nor any of those other clowns listed are going to become president of the United States. They're running against Donald Trump, who's in some polls 60 points up from the closest second runner. Pence obviously not registering in almost any of the polling for the first few primaries, not going to become the president. And you know what? If he wants to waste his money running for president, then I'm happy that he's doing it. I don't want him to become president. But of course, on the other side of things, the worrying factor in this is Donald Trump, who has a very real possibility of becoming president again. And as the Democratic primary is seemingly non-existent, and the Democratic Party seems pretty unconcerned about the real threat that Trump poses. I mean, I can get some joy out of laughing at the Republican S show, so to speak, but it's still a sad state of affairs for the country.
Yeah, I mean, a Democratic primary is non-existent only in the bubble. I mean, there are people running, and really shame on my party for treating the other people who are running as though they don't exist. I mean, for now, Marianne Williamson is the only one running as a Democrat. We know that Robert Kennedy Jr. is now running as an independent, and Dr. Cornel West was never running as a Democrat. But we do have 3 contenders over there who are running in this race on the side that would be considered, more on the Democratic side of the ledger than the Republicans. And right, I'm just having a hard time. I do not feel sorry for Pence. Baby, you shouldn't have got in this race. You should have talked to somebody, boo. He let his ego, grandma would say, don't write a check that you Behind can't cash, put in the other word, but that's what she said. And I think Pence just got all caught up. This ain't nothing but ego. The fact that he even got in this race, and that quote about his fundraising halls is a medium-sized Senate race. True. Although on the other end of that, Ray, it makes me think about how we need real campaign finance reform in this country, because that's not a little bit of money, but now we have been so programmed. It takes billions of dollars pour in, combined with what candidates raise and what other forces put into a race. Millions. I mean, it takes billions, to even run for president. But this is not the right fit for Pence, and he should understand that, Ray. And he is gonna have to jump out the race. So he should just go ahead, because watching him is like watching paint dry. I mean, I hate to say it. Everybody got their strengths. This is not his. So he needs to go ahead and sit down. And I know President Donald J. Trump is delighted. I'm sure he is absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs that this is happening to his former vice president, who he didn't lift a finger to try to save on January the 6th. But Pence, baby, please. I know you watching. Just go on. Get out the race.
And we'll see if he even makes it to Iowa. He shouldn't be putting any money on anything. I would put some money on him dropping out before Iowa.
Definitely.
But Donald Trump is definitely enjoying that.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.